Jujutsu Kaisen, Chapter 219, Spoilers. Need I say any more, guys? Let's get right into it. And as always, before we begin the video, if you like this kind of content and want access to the latest updates in JJK, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you like the video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. Thank you so much for deciding to click on this video and to watch the video, so thank you. So the chapter begins with another Heian era flashback where there is a festival going on in one of the towns, and we see that Sukuna was actually invited to this festival. We see some gossip between the locals where they talk about praying to Sukuna and giving him offerings so that they can have a bountiful harvest this year. And the reason they're doing this is simply because they don't want to incur Sukuna's wrath. This is pretty interesting because now we kind of get to see how Sukuna was treated back in the day in the Heian era. I mean, we all know he was revered as the king of curses, but to see him actually being treated like the equivalent of a deity slash god, where you're literally inviting him for festivals and offering him offerings just so he doesn't decide to destroy your entire way of life, just shows the kind of respect and fear, that they had to him back in the day, and it's really impressive to see, honestly. The locals also gossip about another person in town that they think may be barbaric enough to rival the King of Curses, and that person is none other than Yorozu. We then cut to a panel of Yorozu where we see her casually chilling at her house without any clothes on, and we see one of the servants actually come up and asks her to attend the festival and to make sure that she actually wears some clothes before attending the festival. Yorozu seems displeased by this, but then she just decides to put on a simple robe and head towards the festival to go get some snacks. And Yorozu then actually sees the snacks that were meant as offerings for Sukuna and decides to eat those snacks herself. And as Yorozu's eating, she then sees the man, the myth, the legend, the king of curses himself, Ryomen Sukuna, in his original Heian era body. Finally, guys. Finally, more manga panels with Ryomen Sukuna in his original body. Just look how awesome he looks in this panel. I'm really grateful we get to see some more stills of his form because he has an amazing original form, and it's just criminal that it's not used more often in the manga. Anyway, Yorozu sees Sukuna, and it's love at first sight, guys. Like, she literally runs forward and wraps herself around Sukuna, telling him that she's always going to be by his side. Of course, Sukuna really doesn't know what the hell is going on here. And before he can even react, we see that the ice chef, Urame, just straight up attacks Yorozu and slashes her right across the chest. Uraume tells Yorozu to know her place, but Yorozu just tells Urahime to back off, saying that if Sukuna lets her, she would never let him have those lonely eyes again. She would keep him company forever. Of course, Yorozu just apparently forgets that she was fatally slashed in the chest, so apparently she just dies in the next panel, which is weird to see, but apparently she dies in that panel, and that's how she died back then in the Heian era. Once again, I'm not sure if this is the right way to go about things. I mean, we literally got so much about how Yorozu was one of the most dominant and powerful sorcerers in the previous chapter, and I expected her death to actually be like a really dramatic one. Maybe she fought with Sukuna or something like that, but I really didn't think it would just be from a simple slash like this. Maybe this is not how she actually died, but according to what translations of the spoilers that we do have currently, it says that this is how she ceased to exist in the Heian era. So I'm assuming she's dying in this panel. Anyways, we then head back to the present in the next panel where Yorozu and Sukuna are still in the middle of their fight. And Yorozu says that the loneliness that she saw in Sukuna's eyes belongs to her and her alone. And she proudly declares that she will be the one to kill Sukuna. This woman, I swear, guys, I don't know if I should be terrified of her at this point or just straight up impressed because the dedication she has towards her goals is pretty remarkable. I'll give her that. Yorozu then proceeds to make a giant black ball called True Spear. That's right, guys, a true spear. Now, to everyone that wasn't impressed by Yorozu making a true spear, let me explain why a true spear is actually really, really devastating. Heads up, there's a little bit of a science lesson. So, first off, a true spear is technically impossible to implement since a true spear has no real contact area or an infinitely small contact area. It's perfectly spherical, so there's no any form of jaggedness in the edges. So regardless, wherever you touch the spear, the area of contact that you're going to have is infinitely small. Now, we all know that pressure is inversely proportional to area of contact, meaning that when the area of contact decreases, the pressure increases. So, if we apply that logic here, when the area of contact is zero or infinitely small, then the pressure that's actually generated is infinitely large. So, what all this means is simply the spear generates infinite pressure on anything it touches. So, if you touch the spear, you're dead. Yorozu then activates her freaking domain expansion, which is called Sick, 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 or Triple Sick. Seriously, why? Of all the cool names you could have to choose for your domain expansion, Yorozu, why Triple Sick? Seriously, you have an infinite spear. Like, come on, what are all the cool names you could have? Like, here's some examples: Infinite Spear, True Shape, Infinite Love, Shape of Truth. Look at all these cool names and you choose Sick, Sick, Sick. Anyways, I'm sorry for going on a rant there, guys. So, Yorozu's domain expansion essentially gives her spear a must hit effect, meaning that as long as Yorozu's domain is active, she can essentially send whoever she wants and the spear into direct contact with each other. So, in this case, if she activates her curse technique while in the domain, Sukuna and the spear are gonna collide, and this would probably effectively kill Sukuna because he'd have to take infinite pressure the moment he comes into contact with the spear. Yorozu expects Sukuna to then use Malevolent Shrine, but Sukuna doesn't do anything. Yorozu is confused by this and she asks Sukuna why he hasn't used his domain expansion yet. And then she notices Maharaga's wheel, if you remember from the last chapter, was on top of Sukuna's head during the entire fight, start spinning. Sukuna then smiles, grabs the damn wheel off his head, and throws it into a patch of shadow. And then we see the full Maharaga appear right outside the spear and straight up destroy the true spear with just one attack. Okay, what? Seriously? Just one attack? Maharaga is OP and we all know it, guys. Maharaga then turns his attention to Yorozu, who's just in disbelief that Maharaga just broke her spear so easily. Moving on to the next panel, we see Yorozu near the verge of death as she wonders how Maharaga destroyed her true spear so easily. And how the hell was he even able to get near the spear? Because for Maharaga to get near the spear and even come into contact with it, he would have to be able to take infinite pressure. Sukuna then arrives and explains to Yorozu that because Yorozu had bad cursed energy output, which remember was explained in the previous chapter, she would only have to use her technique in an extremely unified way to be able to create the best possible attack, which was aka her domain expansion and the true spear. But the thing is, Sukuna had activated Maharaga the moment the fight began, and Maharaga had been adapting to Yorozu's curse technique the entire time that she was fighting with Sukuna. So that explains how Maharaga was able to tank the infinite pressure. It was simply because he had already adapted to the technique. And also another interesting fact, which I believe I pointed out in a previous video, was the fact that Sukuna is able to use Maharaga's ability to adapt without technically needing to summon Maharaga himself. So I don't know if this is confirmed. Remember, we don't have the official translations, but if this is possible, that is amazing because Sukuna doesn't need to summon Maharaga now and have it tank damage to be able to adapt. He can just summon the wheel and fight the opponent himself, and then just summon Maharaga, who is already adapted to deal the finishing blow. And also the fact that we see Maharaga use the Sword of Extermination to break the domain expansion. Now, we know the Sword of Extermination is coated with positive energy, so it's really, really difficult for anything with cursed energy to be able to escape from that sword. Now, I don't know how the sword interacts with domain expansions or anything of the sort. Do let me know in the comments if you know the answer. But does the sword help Maharaga break through the barriers of domain expansions? Because technically, isn't that a curse technique in some sort? Do let me know if you know the answer to that, because I don't know and I would really like to know. So Yorozu is shocked that this was what happened and that Sukuna had essentially played her the entire fight because he had already activated Maharaga well before the fight. But regardless, she is still happy that Sukuna knows so much about her fighting style and her technique. And just as Yorozu is about to die, she gives Sukuna something and tells him that he should think of that thing as her and use it with care for the rest of his life. Now, I don't know what exactly she's giving him. I don't know if it's revealed here because I can't read the the non-English translation. But I don't think we see what exactly she's giving him here. There was no mention of it in the whatever translations we did get for the spoilers when they came down. So I don't think it's actually revealed what she gave him. But if she did give him something, then it's probably going to come in clutch later on. So the final panels of this chapter uh, are extremely interesting. The chapter ends with us going deep into the abyss of the soul, where we see a light shine on a boy that has sunken into darkness. We see Megumi Fushiguro, and Megumi realizes that he has just killed his own sister with his own hands. And with that realization, Megumi's soul sinks further and further into the darkness of the abyss. And that's it for the chapter, guys. Wow, what a chapter. Uh, Pretty much mission accomplished for Sukuna. I mean, I don't know if Megumi has a shot of coming back. I hope he does. I really hope he does. But the fact that Sukuna accomplished what he wanted to have Megumi's soul sink further into the abyss is a proof that it's going to be a lot harder for Megumi to come back. I hope this is one of those things where it looks like Megumi is honestly going back down into the abyss, but maybe the anger that he feels that Sukuna did this would be enough to motivate him to kind of get some grasp of control back. We still don't know. We still don't know what the deal is regarding the cut on Sukuna's finger as well, so that's another thing. But the main thing is the fact that we got to see Maharaga, and we got to see how OP Maharaga is in this chapter because he straight up annihilated YOROZU'S domain expansion. We also got to see another Heian era flashback and just some more insight out of how people treated Sukuna, a little more on YOROZU, and we got to see the end of what has been honestly a really good JJK fight. I can't wait for the official chapter to come out. Hopefully there are some clues. If there's anything I missed, I hope that the official chapter translations will make it clear because there are some things that I'm still like we still don't know what Yorozu gave Sukuna, and I don't know if it was revealed, but if it was revealed, then we'll know in the official chapter translations. But anyways, that's it for the spoiler review. Thank you so much that everyone that decided to watch this video till the end. It means a lot to me. Please hit that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot. It would help support the channel. I'm doing my best to get to 1,000 subs as soon as possible because there are some features on YouTube that I really want to unlock to help me make better videos for all you guys. So if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.